Sup, my dudes, Valkyrja, and today, with JingLiu being as strong as she is, the discussion has once again sparked up within the community of power creep. Is it good, is it bad, whatever? I've already said my stance on it multiple times, but I want to say it again for the people in the back, that way you guys know where I'm at. I believe power creep is a very good thing for a gacha game like Star Rail. I don't think it's good for any gacha game that has a competitive feature to it, because then you turn into wallet warriors, which isn't very good. People are going to well out just so they can compete with other people and beat them in whatever PvP aspect there is. But this is a purely PvE game, so I do think power creep's actually a good thing, and I want to go over it. I think there's two different types of power creeps. I think there's utility power creep, which is like Luocha and Fushuan, which is something that you have to watch out for and keep in mind on, because if they were to drop a new enemy that you have to summon for a new character to actually be able to beat, then that's not okay. If a new enemy comes out with a new mechanic similar to Fantillia's half HP or the Swarm Disaster, how you really want Fushuan to actually be able to do that, if it comes to a point where a new character is basically necessary to clear the challenge, then I don't think that's okay. I think it's fine as long as you are able to beat it via other methods or just having a strong team without having the new character and the new mechanic. In terms of utility power creep, that's the one we have to watch for. That's the one you have to keep an eye out on. It's just something that could end up being very bad. It could end up being very good. It just depends on how they go down the route with it. Right now, they've been doing a perfectly fine job managing it. There's been some sus situations, like I said, with Fushuan and Swarm, and then Luocha and the Fantillia mechanic that some enemies have. You really do want Luocha for those fights because he's able to clear the 50% like HP lock, so that's pretty big. But then we get into actual damage power creep, which is a big discussion I've seen a lot of people have. Is damage power creep bad for the game? Is it good for the game? I think it's perfectly healthy for the game, especially since the fact that you can still use your standard banner 5 stars. One of my characters I've gotten the most mileage off of, unsurprisingly, is Clara. I've always said how good I think Clara is, and I stand by it. And the fact that I've used Clara to this day. I use Clara in a lot of teams. I use her in a counter-based team. She's always like, DPS, or not DPS, DOT is basically one of my main teams with Kafka, Sampo. You can see I have this here, but my second team is almost always centered around Clara, because I just appreciate the counter mechanic. You can get a lot of damage out of it if you know what you're doing, and it makes it so she's just a very powerful DPS. So the thing is the fact that damage power creep, it makes newer units relevant. It makes newer units more interesting, makes me more interested in newer kits. Makes it so I'm always excited to see what the newer units can do, even if I'm not going to summon for them. And if I happen to skip out on JingLiu, for example, like if I'm going to skip JingLiu, then I know I'm not really missing out, because the next damage unit is going to be just as good, if not better, simply because of the way power creep works. The way power creep works, the way power creep constantly pushes stuff forward, is the fact that I know the next damage unit is going to be a monster in their own right, simply because JingLiu's a monster. And that's kind of shown forth going forward. Like, we had Sela, who was really, really strong out the gate. Then we had Jingyuan, who hits very hard, but I wouldn't put him on the same level as Sela. And then after Sela, we had a Blade. Blade absolutely surpassed Sela as probably the best damage in the game. And then we had Kafka. Kafka is very niche, but inside that niche, she's an absolute beast. And then after Kafka, we had Imbibitor Lune, or Gigadan. He absolutely surpassed Blade as the best damage in the game. And then after Gigadan, we have JingLiu. JingLiu surpassing Gigadan as the best DPS in the game. You guys get the idea. Basically, whoever the newest unit is going to be the hardest hitting unit for the most part. It could be true or could not be true for the future. I know what a lot of you guys are going to say. I say wait till they reveal him and show him off better. Because I don't know what's going on, and we'll see whenever the final product is for that. But the thing is that basically the newest unit so far is shown to be the best unit in the game, and there's been some exceptions to the rule, but that's kind of what's been going on, and that is damage power creep. And I think it's perfectly fine, because if you look at the adverse side of it, if you look at the exact opposite end of it, you have Genshin, which is almost reverse power creep, to where Genshin, I think Farina coming out is actually supposed to be really strong. I don't know what's going on with Genshin. I don't really keep up with it, but you guys have told me in my live streams and stuff that people were upset at how strong Farina was. So I'm guessing that that's a thing that's going to be good, because I mean, she's an Archon, right? I hope she's really good. But outside of the Archons, there has been really no push forward in terms of just damage. So people have been using the exact same teams for 3 years, and that's kind of always been very annoying for me personally as somebody that did play the game. It's one of the reasons I never was excited. I stopped being excited for new characters is because I just knew they weren't going to be better than I already had. And I'm not somebody that's going to summon because, oh my god, this character's so cute. Oh my god, this character's so cool. I'm not that type of person. I'm like, oh, this kit looks really fun. This kit looks really strong. I want to see what I can do with it. That's kind of how I am. So, at the end of the day, I think power creep is nice. I think power creep's good. I think it keeps things interesting, keeps things relevant, keeps things moving forward, and keeps me excited personally for new kits, new characters, new designs, new themes, whatever. Anyways, that's basically where I stand on it. Is power creep healthy for the game? In my opinion, yes. I think utility power creep you have to keep an eye on. If it gets out of control, that's something that we really need to start talking about then. But as for damage power creep, I think it's perfectly fine if they just keep pushing it, keep pushing the numbers, keep pushing the numbers. If it gets to the point where my Clara reaches irrelevancy, then we'll have that discussion then. But at that point, I imagine we're 2-3 years down the line. So hopefully they've done something to help her out by then. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.